machlokas mentioned yesterday in the argument between Abai and Rava, kiddushin shem surah labiyah. As a result of kiddushin, one is not able to cohabit with the woman. Does that kiddushin have any value? Rava says kiddushin shem surah lohavi kiddushin. Abai says it is kiddushin. What's the case? Person marries one of two sisters, and he's not sure which sister he married. Initially, when he originally did the act of marriage, according to Rava, neither. There is no question. The marriage is not a marriage. Because since initially that marriage was done in a way where he couldn't cohabit the woman he married, so the marriage is not a marriage. Abai says it is a marriage. You can't cohabit because of the rights of l'chumra, but the marriage is considered a marriage. So we're holding, the Gemara asked the question from the Mishnah. The Mishnah is Tanana, Makadish Ishu Bito. 7 lines from the bottom. Mishnah is a man who marries a woman and her daughter, O Isha Vachosa Kachas, simultaneously. Ein Mukudoshos. Then neither are married. Ho'achas mi Ishu Bito. The person goes and marries one of the two. And at the time he does the marriage, it's unclear which one he married. O mi Isha Vachosa. He marries one of two sisters. Mukudeshes. The inference of the Mishnah is, if you want both take effect simultaneously, neither are married. But one of the two, they are married. Although, you don't know which one. But factually, as a result of that kiddushin can never be acted upon. Right? Because initially it's a suffix. It's the same with Tuf to the Rava. So the Mishnah is a refutation on Rava. Amalach Rava, so Rava responds, he says, Tamech. According to your understanding. Let's read the conclusion of the Mishnah. Masa, the Gemara tells over, there was an incident, Masa b'chomish noshim, there were 5 women, ubehen shtei achyos. And among the 5, there were 2 sisters. V'liket echod kalkola shaltenim, this person gathered a basket of figs. V'shelen hoyso, v'shel shviz hoyso. Initially, the field was their field, and it happened to be the produce of the sabbatical year. V'omar, and he said to them, he says, all of you should be married, and there was a sufficient shavet pruta for all of them in the basket. And we'll see, one was an agent for all 5. Herself plus the other 4 women. And she takes the basket and says, I'm marrying all 5 of you with this basket of fruit. What? With this basket of figs. V'omru chachomim, ein achyos mukudoshos. The 2 sisters are not married, because he wanted to marry, as it says, you cannot marry 2 sisters. Achiasu de'ein mukudoshos. The sisters are not married. Hanochrios mukudoshos. But the women who are unrelated, they are married. That means 3 of the 5 are married. Hechidami, what exactly did he say? When he says, he said, Kulchem mukudoshos, what was his intent? Wait a second. Hechidami, right? The Gemara is asking the question, what exactly happened? What was the case? What did he say? Right? He says, I want to acquire all of you, all 5 of you. Okay, let's discuss this. Because there's a Rashi here. A person says, I want to transfer ownership to a person and a donkey. A donkey is not able to acquire. But that was a statement. I want to transfer ownership to you and to the donkey. Let's see. And the person takes the object on behalf of himself and the donkey. So it's a machlokis in Bava Basra whether it's a valid transfer. Since he says you and the donkey, so one position is a donkey can't acquire, so it's either all or nothing. I want the donkey to acquire together with you. And I want you to represent the donkey to acquire. But it's not possible. So it's not possible, so it's not a transfer. That was the precondition. It's all or nothing. Rav Nachman says, since a person understands a donkey can't acquire, what he meant to say is you should acquire. So meaning, you acquire, the donkey doesn't acquire. Okay? Now, the Gemara now says, if a man says, I want all of you to be married, all of you to be married, including the 2 sisters. 5 women, including 2 sisters. But actually, 2 sisters, you're not able to marry 2 sisters. So if we're going to say atfach v'chamor, if we're saying you and the donkey according to the position that it's not a valid transfer. Because all or nothing, over here, neither of them should be married. So how could 3 of the 5 be married? It should be all or nothing, correct? It's like you and the donkey. So over here, if you take a look in Rashi, when the Gemara asks a question, at v'chamor, so Rashi says, Nosi matonis lenolad uber. How does he learn the case, relating to our case? A person wants to give a gift to a child, a person who was born, and to an uber, and to an unborn fetus. Now, if a person, regarding what the Gemara says in Son, if a person goes and aborts a fetus, is he liable for the death penalty? The answer is no. He's not permitted, but you're not liable for the death penalty. The moment the child effaces, the Gemara refers to it as Yotzel Avir Olam. Although just the top of the skull comes out, the child's considered born. If you kill the child at that moment, the person's a murderer. If a person does, it's an act of murder. Why? Because before that, the child's not called a human being. The classification is fetus. Afterwards, the child takes on an identity of a person. Okay? That's the halacha. If a person wants to transfer something to a child that was born, that's a human being, you cannot transfer something to an unborn fetus. The Gemara says, "Hamizaka the uber lokana." If you want to transfer something to an uber, to an unborn fetus, you cannot. Why not? It's not simple, but we rule this way because it's not a person. It's not a person. It's because it doesn't exist. Okay, so because you transfer something to a person doesn't exist, it's not valid. But it does exist. Yeah, it exists. It's like an appendage of the mother. It has no identity. So let's explain. Rationally, logically say maybe it should. So a person who believes that he could, and he says, I want to transfer something to the child that was born and to the uber. His intention is all or nothing. So the Rishonim explain, even Rav Nachman, who says if you transfer to a person and a donkey, it's a valid transfer because everybody knows a donkey cannot acquire. So therefore, what did he mean? He definitely didn't mean the donkey. He means it should be transferred to the person, or 50% should go to the person. But what about if there's a basis for the person to have a misunderstanding? The person believes he could transfer it to the unborn fetus. So when he says, there, I want to transfer it to the child, the born child and the fetus, unborn fetus, he meant all or nothing. Even Rav Nachman. So although we rule like Rav Nachman in regard to the donkey and the person, that it's a valid transfer, but Rav Nachman would concur here that it's not a valid transfer. Because here it's a lack of understanding of Yediyah, knowing the halacha is that an uber is not a person. Okay? That's the reason why Rashi explains when he quotes the Gemara at v'chamor here, it's not you and the donkey. And he learns the case of speaking, you and an unborn fetus. Okay? So therefore over here, a person thinks, I want to marry 2 sisters. If I don't do it simultaneously, it should be valid. Right? He doesn't know the lumdus of I want to marry all 5 women. So here you could say, the man doesn't know the halacha. So therefore it's all or nothing. So why are 3 married, 3 of the 5, neither of the women should be married. None of them should be married. Right? That's Rabbi saying, so what exactly is the case? If he said kulchem, it's at v'chamor. At v'chamor similar to what? To the born child and the fetus. Not to the person and the donkey. Okay? Of course he knows the 2 sisters in the group. Okay, why make it what? What are you trying? Let's talk. He knows the 2 sisters. He says, I want to marry all of you. It's like he knows the donkey's there and he knows the person's there. When he says, I want to transfer you and the donkey, does he know there's a donkey? He knows there's a donkey. So now you ask me, what would be if he didn't know? Okay? It's not relevant. The question at this point is not a relevant question. It's not false. It can't be. So, no, if it can be halachically, he wants it to be. And he's unaware that it can't be. He's unaware it can't be. So then, what do we say? But he says he wants he wants everything. It's all or nothing. So it's all or nothing. None of them should be married. Let's say he didn't know the two sisters were here. And he said, I want to marry all five. So you still say it's all or nothing. This is all five. I mean, what does that change the equation? Whether he knows the two sisters, doesn't know the two sisters. The two sisters is like the fetus. Knowing. And not knowing, again. He said, I want to marry all five of you. Five means five and not three. Of course he thinks he could. That's exactly what we're saying. Because he believes he could. It's the same thing here. When he says, I'm marrying two sisters, he believes he could. It's like the fetus and the born child.
I mean, that's fine. How does the fetus feel? Is it just you want to show from the fetus that if he thinks he can do it to a fetus, therefore... And, like, I'm
Again,
not following the fetus.
I know you're not following because you're dozing off in between. Okay. 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 There's a machlokes in Bava Basra. A person says, I want to transfer something to a person and a donkey. Is it a valid transfer to the person? Rav Nachman says it is a valid transfer. We rule like Rav Nachman. We rule like Rav Nachman. Why does Rav Nachman? But he factually says to the person and the donkey. Because every person understands, without a question, you cannot transfer it to a donkey. A donkey is not a person to acquire. An animal cannot acquire. So why do you say it? A person says things which are nonsensical. People, they say things. But what about it's a context where it's as a lack of knowing the halacha. And he truly wanted to transfer to the child, the born child, and the unborn child. That's what he says. I want to gift something to the child and unborn child. The fetus. There, even Rav Nachman would agree that it's nothing. It's neither. There, it's to both, and if it's not both, then it's to neither. So, and that's where Rashi learns the case at v'chamor. Wait a second. What does Rashi interpret? The Gemara says at v'chamor. Because the Gemara is explaining the Gemara's question even according to halacha. Because the difficulty, what are we asking for? At v'chamor, we don't rule at v'chamor. We rule like Rav Nachman. At v'chamor is what? Is valid. So if it's valid, shtei achios, so of course 3 of the 5 are married. The answer is at v'chamor is clear beyond any doubt that every person knows the chamor cannot acquire. That's what Rav Nachman rules. It's valid. But over here, knowing the halacha that you cannot marry 2 sisters simultaneously, that's similar to transferring something to an unborn fetus. They have to be a little bit of a Talmud Chacham to know that. Therefore, when the man says, I want all or not all, he means all or nothing. So the question is, so why over here are 3 of the 5 married? Neither of the women should be married. That's the Gemara's question. And that's why Rashi learns the case of Ad Chamor. Not literally, it's speaking about the Nolad and the Uber. Can I ask you a question? We have a president. Is he qualified? But he's the president of the United States. Okay, so you have the same question. Therefore what? Because legally, within the laws, you can. No. See, it's not simple. No, it's not simple. It's not simple. You know, there's a halacha. If a person wants to gift something after he dies, could he gift something after he dies? You can't. Right? Wait. Because the moment the person dies, it's transferred to the heirs. It's no longer his to dictate once he dies. What about you give something to a person before you die to provide on behalf of a third party after you die? That you can, because the transfer took place. So let's say you gift something, you transfer something to a third party, that he's acquiring it on the condition that he provides for a third party. Right? That could be the cat and the dog. Because who's doing the acquiring? The person. But I'm only giving it to you if you utilize it in a very specific context. What's that? Care for my dog or the cat. Right? Or the chimpanzee, whatever you want to call it. It's okay. But it's true. If you transfer it to the cat or the dog, it has no value. Where it's blatantly clear to anybody. No. 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 Okay, but that's why Rashi, when the Gemara cites the Gemara of Basik, At v'chamor, he explains it within the context of the Nolad and the Uber for that reason. Okay? Elo. So Rav says, so how do I understand the Mishnah? Elo lav d'amadu achas mikem. He said, one of you should be married to me. Uktani, ein achnus kudoshos. It's very good. He said, one of you 5 should be married to me. He's not married to all of them. He says, one of you should be married to me. El alav d'amadhu achs mikem uktani ein achis mukadoshos. One second. Uktani ein achis mukadoshos. So it says achs mikem. So that's the reason why the sisters are not. They're not included. One of you should be married to me. Yeah, good. So it's kiddushin misur labia. Since it's unclear which sister, so neither of the sisters are married to. So which one is married? It's one of the other 3. So one of the other 3 need a get. They're unrelated to one another. We don't know which one of the 3 is married to. So basically, he's saying what? All 3. Subsequently he can marry the other 2. Right? He can marry the 2 as long as a third party doesn't come into the picture to marry, right? To marry any of them. Okay? So the Gemara says, the Rava kasher ratio. So according to Rava, the ratio is difficult. Because the ratio says, it's only because he wants to marry both sisters simultaneously. But it's if he would say, I want to marry one of you 2, although it's undetermined which are the 2, it's what? She needs a get. According to Rava, she should need nothing. So the ratio is difficult to Ula Abaye, Kasha Seifo. Right? Because if it's Kulchem, then 3 should not be married. So Rav has learned, what does it mean, the 3? 3 are suffix. That means each one of the 3 needs a get. Okay? So the Sefer is difficult according to Abaye. Right? Because at v'chamor. Because again, at v'chamor. I'm explaining to you why he's learning that way. Because he's explained according to Rav Nachman. You understand? Because Rav Nachman's at v'chamor, it is valid. It's a valid transfer because the person knows with definiteness you cannot transfer to an animal. So why over here? No. That's what. But here the Gemara says he's married to what? He shouldn't be even married to the 3. The Gemara is asking, why is he married to the 3? Why do the 3 need a get? But if it's at chamor, that's exactly what it needs. The 3 need a get. He's married to them. He can't be married to the sisters, but we have difficulty. But he said kulchem. Okay, you think about it. Okay. So we have the ratio is difficult according to Rava, and the Sefer is difficult according to Abaye. Okay, Abaye metoritz l'tami, Rava metoritz l'tami. Each one explains the Mishnah based on his own position. Abaye metoritz l'tami. Abaye holds kiddushin she'em mesurin l'biyah havi kiddushin. Hamakadish ishu bita the ratio. A man who marries a woman and her daughter, o isha v'chosa ka'achas en kudoshos. So neither are married. Ha'achas mi'isha ubito, or mi'isha uvachos mukudeshes. But he says one of you 2, although it was never determined which one, mukudeshes. That's Abaye, correct? Which this is. Vim Omar. What about if he said haru'i l'bio tiskadishli en mukudeshes? If he would say, but she has to be availed to me that I should be able to cohabit with her, then she's not married, correct? Because factually he can't cohabit with her. Umasanami. Now see how he's explaining. If he would say haruya labio tiskadishli, then she's ain't b'kodeshes. Right? Umasenami, there was an incident. V'chomish nosim uben shtei achios. There were 5 women, and among the 5 there were 2 sisters. V'liket echad kalkola shel teinim. He took a basket of figs. V'omar, he said, haru'uyo li mikem tiskarishli. Those who are available to me, those women should be married to me. V'omru chachomim and achshim kudoshos. Since it was predicated on those who are available to me, so if it's undetermined the 2, which one? Correct, so that it's not relevant. Well, that's the way he interprets the Mishnah. He changes it, but that's what he's learning. Okay? Rava Mitaritz Latamik. Rava explains the Mishnah according to his position. Makarish ishu bito o achas. You hear this? Ishu bito o achas mi isha vachoso. Here, Makarish achas mi ishu bito. A person who marries one of the 2, a woman and a daughter, one of the 2, o achas mi ishu vachoso. Nase k'misha kiddush ishu bito o isha vachoso kachas. Bein mekudoshos. You have the case. How he's learning. According to Rava, kiddushin shem misurim b is not a kiddushin. So saying one of you 2 is the equivalent of marrying both simultaneously, which is nothing. So that's what he's saying. A person who marries one of the 2, a mother or a daughter, or one of 2 sisters, is the equivalent of ishu bito or isha vachosa. Vein mekudoshos. Umasid nami, there was an incident. B'chomish noshim ben shtei achios. V'liket echad kalkola shel teinim v'omar harei kulchem. He said, v'achas b'shtei achios mikudoshesli. He says, all of you should be married to me, and one of the 2 sisters should be married to me. Because omru chachomim said, say ein achios mikudoshos. Meaning the 3 are married, not a question, fully married, and the 2 sisters neither are married, because it's kiddushin mesur labiyah. Correct. It's the equivalent case. Okay? So each one is really manipulating the Mishnah to be able to come out, because the last case is a little difficult. The case where he gave the basket of figs to 5 of them, he says, all of you should be married to me, and one of the 2 sisters. Right? V'achas b'shtei achios. So we say, right, the 5 women involved initially, and only he wants to marry 4, but since he said one of the 2 of the sisters, neither are married, the end result is he's married to 3 of the 5. Everybody doesn't know that. Everybody doesn't know that. No, he said that. No. It's not all or nothing. Rav Nachman's rule has to do with all or nothing. He didn't say all or nothing. Rav Nachman's rule is where a person doesn't know the halacha and says all. If it's all, then it's all. He didn't say all. He didn't say all of you. If he was all 5, none of them married. That's at v'chamor. But the Mishnah doesn't say that. But that everybody has to learn it this way. Everybody has to learn. It says the Chachomim say 3 of the 5 are married. Either married misafek or married, definitely married. So we have to read the Sefer somehow. The Sefer doesn't read according to anybody.
So we have to change this. According to Rav Nachman's rule, we have to change the Mishnah one way or the other.
Correct. The Sefer, the Mishnah of the 5 women has to be somebody altered a little bit.
So when he's saying the 3 plus one of the sisters, he doesn't know the halacha that you can't marry 2 sisters, but he just wanted to marry
one of them. Okay?
Just to go back to a Bible.
One of the 2. He said one of the 2, but there's no such thing as one of the 2. He said 3, the 3 who are not related, I want to marry, and one of the 2 sisters.
Is it because he didn't specify which one?
No, because he didn't specify which one.
But is it because it's a Sophic Derisa?
No, because it's not according to Rava, because he can't act on that marriage. That marriage will not permit either of the sisters to be permitted to him. right? It's Kedusha Misurim Bina. Why are they forbidden? Because Safek D'Oraisa. So since initially, but what created the Safek D'Oraisa? Because we're not sure which one he married. So we said that's what Tosas is in Amid Aleph. Whenever the Kedushin creates the prohibition, and the Kedushin doesn't allow it to actually to lead to cohabitation, the Kedushin is not a Kedushin.
But it's different. In this particular case, we know that he's allowed to be married to one.
But he has to know which one.
So because we've got a suffix here, it's a fence.
It's not a fence. Not a fence. Not a fence. What kind of fence is it? Torah says a marriage is only marriage if you can cohabit with a woman as a result of the marriage. If you can't cohabit with a woman as a result of the marriage, then the marriage is not a marriage. According to Rava.
But it's the same rule. Let's suppose there were three sisters and the man was married to sister A.
Then
Now these other two are here.
there's nothing to talk about. He's married to neither.
Talk about.
Because
It's the same ruling as if
yeah,
it
but it's for a
wasn't
different. But it's a
pre-existing.
different rationale. But it's the end result is the same ruling. According to Abaye, it would not be the same ruling. Abaye, he'd be married. He's married. With the case, he's married to one. He's married to neither of the other two, because it's his wife's sisters. But in case we have two sisters, and it's a question which one. According to Abaye, they both need a get.
But they can't have bia.
Wait a second.
See, that makes more sense to me.
It's not a question that makes sense. We're going in a pasuk. It says, "Ki yikach ish isha uvoalo," right? It's based on how you interpret the pasuk. The end result of kedushin has to be that you should be able to cohabit with a woman. But if the Torah says you're not permitted to cohabit, then it's not ki yikach. That's what the Torah says.
There's no act of marriage.
The marriage is not a marriage unless there's a uvolo. If the end result is uvolo.
But according to Vayeishev, if there is marriage, it's not marriage for bia, but it's only marriage to get a get.
Marriage means she's your wife.
You said what? But you can't have bia.
That's for a different reason, because you're not sure which is your wife. Right.
It's only
That's a technicality. That's it, because it's not a prerequisite what is marriage, what's not marriage. That's what they're arguing. When the Torah says uvolo, what does that word mean? And he cohabits with her. Is that a prerequisite to determine whether marriage is a marriage or no? Person marries, so he cohabits with his wife. But that's not a precondition to the marriage.
I just want to make the following differentiation. Let's suppose
I don't. You keep repeating the word fence. What does fence have to do with anything?
it's Shabbos. I'm right in the middle of Shabbos. And there's an act that I'm considering doing which is prohibited by the Shabbos
On a Torah level.
on a Torah level.
Okay.
There's like a giant wall in front of me that I cannot penetrate. Okay? That's case A. Now case B is I'm sitting and I'm not sure where the Shabbos has begun or not, but it's very close. I'm considering the same act. Now I have a Sofet D'Oraisa. Okay? It's not the same kind of offense.
No, the liability is different liability. One carries the death penalty, the other one doesn't carry the death penalty, because you can't put a person to death if it's a question whether he violated the Shabbos. That's the reason.
Now, but let's suppose the man himself doesn't know, but there's an objective fact. The atomic clock will tell us.
But you have to conduct yourself as if you don't know.
You don't know.
But over here he said one of the two. Nobody knows.
So I'm just trying to make a differentiation between these two. It seems to me that this case is sort of like the one I just gave.
But the Torah says uvolo. Marriage is only a marriage if it's uvolo. If you're permitted to cohabit.
And
In this case, you cannot cohabit with her
so
because it's a Sofek D'Oraisa. That's what Torah says.
we don't know.
It's irrelevant why, but factually, the way this marriage came to be, you cannot. It will never allow you to cohabit with your wife. Therefore, the marriage is not a marriage, because a prerequisite to marriage, you should be able to cohabit, and here you can't cohabit. You're not permitted to cohabit.
But let's suppose the man went ahead and had beer with one of these two sisters.
He may have violated the law of incest.
This is brought to court. Now, what would the judges do? It's a Sofet that the judges.
They can't give him malchus, but they would not allow him to cohabit again.
Okay,
This marriage is not a marriage which cohabitation is permitted.
but in the other case, the man.
Well, but that's a side issue, because you can't put a person, you can't give a person malchus if it's not definite that he's liable for malchus, because first he has to be forewarned. He has to be forewarned. Secondly, you can't put a person to death unless you definitely know he violated Shabbos. But that's just a technicality, how to put a person to death. But factually, Torah says marriage is only marriage if a person is permitted to cohabit. Can't cohabit, it's not a marriage. I think it's simple. I don't understand the difficulty here. You have to meet that criteria. You can't meet that criteria, it's not a marriage.
You have to be alive and married. You have to.
Let's say it would be a rabbinic provision. It is, because that would be offense. That there's a block. There, that's not a Torah law. It's a rabbinic law. It's offense. Here, this is a Torah law. You're not permitted, because it may be an incestuous relationship. You're not permitted.
When both the Bar and Robert changed the Mishnah, the way you would be equally, each one would be equally plausible.
Based on each one's position. Based on each one's position.
There'd be no way to determine which one was the most accurate restorer.
You're right, but ultimately we're going to refute Rava. Rava is going to be refuted. That kiddushin b'sura labi is a kiddushin eventually. This is one of the Yalkagams. One of the 6 laws that we rule like Abai over Rava is the case of kiddushin b'sura labi. Even though you cannot cohabit, it's a valid kiddushin. That's going to be the halacha. What? They both need a get, correct. We'll get there. You take a look at Rashi. Okay. Toshma. Hamakadish is bito. Stam. Now a father is authorized to marry off his daughter as a minor. What happens when she's 12 and a half years old? What we call bogeres. The father, she's left the domain of the father. The father no longer can dictate to her who she should marry. So if she's a katana or a nara, she can. Okay? A man marries off his daughter. Stam. He says, I'm marrying to one of my daughters. So we're not sure which daughter. Ein habogres b'chlal. The daughters, so all the minors or the naros need a get, but the daughters who are above 12 and a half don't need a get because they were not under his jurisdiction to marry them off. Hoktanas b'chlal. Ein habogres b'chlal. Hoktanas b'chlal. So we say those who were fully mature above 12 and a half were not included when he said my daughter. Of course, my daughter means the one who I'm authorized to marry. But the minors are avamai, kiddushin she'musur lebiyoninu. But if there are a number of, it says katanos, the minors are what? Are included within the saying, I'm marrying my daughter. But it's the same, we have the same problem. All the minors, they're sisters, correct? So it's unclear which one he married. So if he can't cohabit with either of them, this kiddushin b'sur biyah, so none of them should need a get. So why did the katanos need a get? The katanos, the bogros, we understand because they were never under his jurisdiction. But even the minors, even though they are, but the way he brought about the marriage, since it's a kiddushin b'sur labiyah, because it's unclear which minor daughter he married her. So it's again, it's safik achoso. It's a question which one he's married to. Tiyufta de Rava, Omalach Rava, Hochma Askino, Che'enlo, Sham Ela Gedol Uktana. Hear this? He only has one adult daughter above the age of 12 and a half, and he has one minor. There's no suffix. So he says, my daughter, I'm marrying you, my daughter is married to you. So he has 2 daughters. Which daughter? So we say the adult daughter is not a question because, wait. Did you pray the Gemara? Or you forgot what the Gemara answers? Okay, good. So Gemara asks a more basic question. Bogros katani, it says in the plural. So just as there are adults, daughters in the plural, the minors, we're talking multiple minors. Bogros katani, my bogros da alma. Bogros means adults. But it doesn't mean this man only has one adult daughter and one minor. No, so Gemara asks Ernie's question. Ernie asked a phenomenal question. So what's the chidush? It's understood. A man only has one daughter. He says, my daughter is married to you, she's married to him. What's the chidush? Of course she's married to him. He said, my daughter, and he only has one daughter. Because the adult daughter has no relevance. The adult daughter appointed the father as the agent, that he should represent her to marry her off. So he's representing the adult daughter as an agent, and his own daughter, because she's under his jurisdiction. And he says, my daughter is married to you. So now we have a good question. Is he acting in this context as an agent, or is he acting as a father vis-a-vis the minor? It's unclear.
This can be resolved. This question.
The father is not here. The father is not here to ask. The husband doesn't know. The husband doesn't know. The father now dies. So we're not sure. What did he mean? You're right. They don't know. They don't know. No, she made him an agent. But did he act as an agent, or did he act as a father? So that's unclear. To be continued.